Kritika, there seems to be no end to where the Delhi University cutoffs are now touching. This year in LSR, in the Lady Shri Ram College, there are as many as 3 courses where the cutoff is 100%. What explains this constant steep upward graph over the last few years in cutoffs? How can it be 100%? What leads to this? And really, does it make any sense to have cutoffs as high as that? To try and understand this, we have with us Kritika Sharma, who tracks education for ThePrint. So do start sending in your questions in this live episode of Government Matters. And if you're an aspiring Delhi University student, or you're a current Delhi University student, or an ex-Delhi University student who has concerns, comments, questions around this, do send them to us. So Kritika, let's talk about the cutoffs this year a little bit. Has the trend been more or less the same, or it's an, as I said, it's an upward trajectory?
Upward. Yeah, so like you rightly said, Ruhi, it's an upward trend. The last time Delhi University had 100% cutoff in colleges was in 2015. I think College of Vocational Studies and IP College had 100% cutoff for some courses. And this year again, LSR, like you said some time back, has 100% cutoff for 3 of its courses, which is political science, eco and psychology. And these are the courses which are very much in demand. If I name a few courses, English honors, history honors, pol science, psychology, these are the courses that are very much in demand in Delhi University. So naturally, a lot of students apply to get admission to these courses. And so the cutoff is really high. Like last year also, the cutoffs have been somewhere between 95% to 99% for the best colleges. I'm talking about at least 20 colleges. There are 54 colleges in Delhi University, but I'm talking about the top 20 colleges. Right. The cutoff is between 95 to 99%. But if you see the cream, like the top colleges, top 5 or something, it starts at 98 and ends at 99. Starts at 99 and ends somewhere at 98. So this has been like that. But this year, what make the headline is 100%. So
right. So Kritika, what explains this? Is it that CBSE is generously just distributing marks? I mean, because if so many students, or for that matter ICSE, if so many students come with such high marks, the cutoff will be higher, because it's an average of how much people score.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So CBSE has in fact been more generous this year. This is something which was expected, because this being the pandemic year and the kind of relaxations that board has given, because students could not write some of the exams and students were really disturbed and everything, so there have been relaxations. So the number of students who have scored plus 95% marks has doubled this year, in fact. Also, the number of students who have scored more than 90% marks in CBSE has also increased. So naturally, a large chunk of students who've applied are from CBSE board. If I have to read out the figures, more than 2,85,000 students who have applied to Delhi University, and nearly about 3,50,000 students have applied. And if a major chunk is from CBSE board, it naturally means that the cutoffs will go high. So more than 2,85,000 are from CBSE board, and a huge number of students have scored more than 95%.
So Kritika, which brings me to an obvious next question, that does it put students from other boards, whether it's ICSE or state boards, at a disadvantage?
It does in a way, because other boards are not that generous in marking. But Delhi University has, this has always been,
a disparity
and a sort of debate when other students students from other boards who come to DU, and you're like, such high cutoffs, and how do they manage? But what DU has typically been saying is that if we don't keep our cutoffs high, how are we going to fill limited number of seats? Like for example, LSR in psychology, if I'm not wrong, they have only 14 seats. And with the amount of applications they receive, if they don't, that's what I've been told by the college authorities, if they don't keep the cutoff that high, how are they going to fill those limited number of seats.
Right. So, this obviously poses a unique problem for Delhi University because the demand is so high.
Yeah.
The number of seats are limited, and on
Yes.
top of it, CBSE is generously giving away marks. So, there are
Yes.
so many students who will, even with 100%, there might be a lot of students who will come.
Yeah.
So, is filtering now becoming increasingly problematic? And do you
Yes.
think, of course, this year is an exception year, but do you think colleges in some ways will move more towards entrance exams than
Yes.
cutoffs?
Yes, yes. So which is what is the plan now with the new education policy also coming in. There is a suggestion that more and more universities should give admission to students on the basis of entrance exams. In fact, there is also a provision of having a common entrance test, which I reported a story some time ago that NTA is most likely, the National Testing Agency is most likely to start this from 2021 batch onwards. So there will be the common entrance exam through which students will get admission. So obviously because of this increasingly students getting more and more marks and boards being generous, this problem is arising. Also, like you said, more high scorers.
Right.
So let me tell the viewers that over 5,000 applicants who have applied in DU have 100% as the best of 4.
Right.
So you can imagine, the kind of pressure that colleges have right now.
Or maybe DU can get rid of the best of 4 factor because that in some ways will pull the percentages down if somebody will score less in some subject or the other.
Yeah, that is true. But the best of 4 was first of all brought in place so that there is some kind of an indicator as to, or a calculator as to how or a level playing field, I would say, as to how admission should be given. But that is now proving to be difficult because if you include a high scoring subject, now board has also allowed vocational subjects, like you can include physical education in your best of 4. So if students generally score more in physical education, so if you include physical education, then you're going to obviously score a lot more in your best of 4 rather than your actual percentage.
Is it still best of 3 plus English, because that's what it used to be in our times, or it's any best of 4 now?
Any best of 4, but if you want to get admission in English, then English has to be there.
included.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So there's a question from Dev Verma. It's being said that the trend of close to 100% cutoff started around 2011 because the grading system was changed around that time. Also, the marks are being given more liberally. Is it true?
No. Like I said, the last time DU had 100% cutoff was 2015. But yeah, more and more students getting 100 marks in a lot more subjects has been a trend which has been around for the last, I would say, last 8-9 years now.
Right.
So yeah, that's there.
Junaid Khan, should marks be the sole criteria given the kind of mugging up based education we have? Doesn't it mean that we're just giving more glorified accountants to the nation? Is a UPSC-like system needed? So, do we need a bit of an overall haul of how Delhi University admits students? CBSE really is not perhaps the best indicator. Should there be more rounds, maybe interviews, something to filter out a little more?
Absolutely. So this is the thinking which is going on within the Delhi University also. In fact, I have been tracking the admissions for a long time now, and I've spoken to authorities. In fact, 3 years ago also they had to say the same thing. It's getting too much for us to, filter all these applications, and we can only give admission to 50-60,000 students, but more than 3 lakh students apply with us. So there should be a better system to, filter out applications. So yes, entrance exams are in the works, and in fact a lot of colleges, mostly professional colleges, are giving admission on the basis of entrance exams. But yes, it is going to move more towards entrance exam based admissions in the coming future.
Right. Okay, this is a slightly unrelated question, but I'll take this nevertheless. This is from Kabir. AAP has always boasted about improving Delhi's education. Do you see any improvement in Delhi schools? So colleges, DU doesn't fall under the Delhi government. It's a central government university.
So I think
Delhi schools, do you see any improvement? Are AAP's claims of improving education in Delhi, is there anecdotal evidence to suggest that that's happening?
Yes, absolutely. Especially in terms of the learning outcomes, because Aam Aadmi Party has focused a lot on improving not just the infrastructure. Infrastructural wise, most of Delhi government schools are fine now. I'm not talking about MCD schools, but Delhi government schools are more or less fine. But they have done sufficient amount of work in terms of improving the learning outcomes also. obviously there is a lot more that needs to be done, but obviously progress has been made there.
Right. Even small things like starting parent-teacher meetings in government
Parent-teacher
schools, which
meetings,
was
yes.
not
In fact, there is an alumni meet also. So, students who passed out, they can come share their ideas with the current students.
So giving it a more, the advantages private schools enjoyed perhaps now are moving a little towards Delhi government schools as well. Okay, Hitesh Nautiyal, my question is whether these kind of cutoffs are justified, keeping in mind the present condition of our government universities.
I can't make a comment on justified or not.
Right.
There can be two sides to it. They're not justified because a lot of students do not score as much as, say, the toppers or as the 100% scorers. But then if we think, if we talk from the point of view of a college, they have to keep a mechanism to filter out the huge number of applications. How do you, fit in 14 seats when 30,000 or say 1 lakh students are applying for that kind of course? So that's a huge challenge.
Right.
So which is why the high cutoffs.
Okay. Varun Sharma, is the HRD ministry looking into this problem of skyrocketing cutoffs? Do they consider this as a problem in the first place?
Yes, they definitely do consider this a problem, and the whole talk about starting an entrance exam for admission in universities stemmed from this skyrocketing cutoffs, because this is not something that we're discussing now. This has been discussed for the last 4 or 5 years. The cutoffs are so high, students are not getting admission. So what's the solution? So yes, it is a concern for the government, and they are working for a solution.
Right. Priyambada, should the government acknowledge that this is seriously impacting the confidence of many who are pushed to depression despite scoring good marks? It's a valid point.
Yeah.
You may score a 95% and you may still not be good enough to do a course of your choice in a college of your choice.
True.
So
yes.
Are there counseling sessions the government may be planning? Is there a way to deal with this very odd situation that we are faced with right now?
Yeah, so not exactly counseling session to deal with something like this, but obviously there are a lot of other options that students who perhaps do not score as much can go for. You can go for universities that offer admission on the basis of entrance exams, or maybe if you can afford or if you get scholarships, you can go for private universities that don't look too much into the cutoffs and marks. So there are these solutions, but then the government is not, they don't have anything like a counseling so far.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Atif Rashid, this is coming from the other side of the prism. It's also an important point. Do entrance exams really serve any purpose other than putting extra pressure on the students for studying for another exam after giving their board exam? So you're studying for one more exam.
Yeah.
Now you may say that you've already studied that for your course and the boards, but all different boards have different syllabi, everything might not be included. So does it put just extra, because we've seen what happens with IIT exams for students?
So, I will talk about this from a personal experience, because when I was an aspirant in 2006, I also wrote exams for a couple of colleges. The kind of questions that they ask are not very different from what you learn in your boards. So, if you've prepared for your boards, even if you've already written your board exams, then it's not going to be very difficult for you. And according to me, entrance exam is a good criteria to judge a student.
But Kritika, I'm wondering if that is true across the board, because for instance, if you're studying economics, so when I came to Delhi University, I realized that what I had learnt in school was nothing. The course in DU was far more advanced. And if they were going to take an entrance exam based on even an iota of that, I perhaps would have had to study far more extra. So is there going to be an equalizer when they talk of entrance exams?
Yeah, so entrance exams are absolutely going to be just the basics of a subject.
Right.
So if you are sitting for a English honors entrance, they are just going to ask you basic literature or basic grammar, tense and paragraphs and what do you call it, paraphrasing and things like that. So which is what I did when I wrote my entrance exam. So that's the standard. The students should just know the basics.
What they've already studied.
Right. So obviously, you can't, if you can't have cutoffs as an equalizer, then you need to have the entrance exam as an equalizer.
Right. Okay, so now Kritika, just before we close, the fact that the first cutoff list has such high marks, and you said that there are so many students, 5,000 students, you said, who've already got 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Does it mean that the second and third cutoff lists for these much sought after courses in these sought after colleges seem quite unlikely?
No, there will be. There has to be definitely a second cutoff, but I would tell the students to not expect too much
Of a drop.
too much of a drop. And what what DU administration has also said, that in the first cutoff itself, wherever you're getting admission, just take admission, because you never know how
Whether
much
you will get in the
because also this year students were not given a choice of course, so they applied in every college for all the courses. So say if you don't want to do an English honors, but you want to do an English honors and you're not getting admission, choose some other subject. Wherever you're getting an admission, just choose it. Maybe you can migrate in the next year, because those options are also given by the university.
Right.
Since it's such cutthroat kind of competition this year, students are just advised to take whatever they get.
Right. Well, the Delhi University cutoffs, they're in news every year. It's actually become more of a norm than an aberration.
Yeah.
But this year, it seems to have broken all past records. We don't know where this is going to end. But as Kritika said, moving towards an entrance exam-based system could be the solution. Thank you so much for watching Government Matters and for sending in your questions. Keep subscribing to our YouTube channel.